Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are and whenever you're watching, doesn't matter. I hope you're having yourself a great day. I am here, folks, today for one reason and one reason only. I've been asked to put together a little bit of a comparison between my current sim racing rig, the Logitech G920, and the new CSL DD from Fanatec, along with the McLaren wheel and the Clubsport pedals. As I talk about what you're going to watch, I've been doing this for about a year and a half. The G920 was my entry level, right? That was my entry point into sim racing. It served me well. Can't complain about it one bit. But we all know it's an entry level set, right? And that being the case, when the CSL DD was announced, when the pre-orders opened up, I jumped on it. I mean, we're talking at least triple the price, right? To put everything together for a full Fanatec lash up here. But one, you don't necessarily have to spend that much. Two, I think it's going to be a significant upgrade. With the Logitech being a gear-driven wheel, the CSL DD, of course, a direct drive wheel. So sit back for the next few minutes here where you're going to get to see that comparison, and we'll talk a little bit about it at the end and go from there. Thanks so much for joining, and let's go take a look at the comparison between these two pieces of kit. Okay, guys, so as I said in the intro, the point here is not to show off my terrible driving skills. The point here is not to display for you and let you sit in awe at how well I do any of this, whether it's Dirt Rally or whether it's ACC, which it's going to be here in just a few minutes. The goal here of this video is to show you the difference, or to try and describe the difference between a G920, okay, and the Fanatec CSL DD. Now, again, the reason I'm doing this is because I think there are a lot of people out there like myself. This is not a review of either one of these pieces of equipment. This is not a way to convince you to buy Fanatec, right? What this is I think there's a lot of people out there like myself who got into sim racing. I've been doing sim racing for a long time, but it was always on a controller, so I wouldn't call it sim racing, right? I enjoy driving games. But in the last I bought this 18 months ago. This is the Logitech G920. The pedals are down there. I don't think anybody needs me to show them a picture of it because you know what they look like. The point of this is to talk to people like myself who maybe got into sim racing relatively recently, the last 18 months, 2 years, maybe even 1 year, who decided, you know what, I'm going to go with something lower cost, entry level, because I want to make sure that I'm really going to enjoy this hobby. I want to make sure it's something I'm really going to want to stick with. And who now are looking at that Fanatec CSL DD and going, maybe it's time for an upgrade, which is what I decided. I was actually within a week or two of ordering the Clubsport wheelbase, which is a belt-driven wheelbase. But once that DD was announced, I was hooked. We all know direct drive is the holy grail of sim racing right now, so why wouldn't I, right? For probably what I would call a little bit more cost with the boost kit and everything, I might as well get something like that's a full upgrade versus intermittent stepping up towards that DD. So that's what this is about today. So really, you're going to see me drive like hell because I'm going to be trying to talk to you at the same time to try and explain what I'm feeling. Now, the 920 is a gear-driven wheel. It is entry level, right? I think this set, the wheel and the pedals, can be had for what, $350 US. Very entry level, clutch pedal, all that, but still very entry level. Now, the only difference between a stock 920 and my set is I have added the true brake upgrade, so my brake's a little better feeling, I would call it. Obviously still not a load cell, but a little better feeling, a little bit more modulation I can do there with the true brake. Again, gear driven, and I can tell you right now, as we get started here, yes, I can feel those gears as I steer the wheel. Right, so we're just going to do a quick course here, and really, again, I hate when the ghost is there. I can feel, as I turn this wheel, I am able to feel every one of those gears, right? When I turn the wheel, or when the wheel tries to turn itself, it's not perfectly smooth. It's not something that you would call, whoopsie, and again, talking. It's not something I would call smooth, right? If you're looking for smooth, it's not like driving a real vehicle at all. The gears are there. As well, in a game like Dirt Rally, again, not paying attention. Let's go off that wall too. There we go. Look at that. Hey, we made it all the way over there. In a game like this, where you're sliding, you know, you're having to slide, you're having to drift around these corners and whatnot. I should feel that in this wheel, right? And at 2.5 Newton meters, there's not a lot of power there. There's not a lot of definition either. I mean, I get vibration with a G920, but it's not what I would call accurate. It just kind of shakes itself, I guess. You know, when I go over a jump, there's a bump. The whole thing just, you know, shakes. It's, again, though, not what I would call super accurate. But it's also the only thing I've ever driven, right? It's my only frame of reference is this 920. That's how new I am to sim racing, and that's the whole point here today. So as we go through this and just try and finish the course out a little bit, the pedals as well, very, you know, and you're gonna hear me doing. I mean, just the gas pedal, the throttle is easy to push. Again, I don't feel like there's a lot of resistance there. I can tell it's how do I want to describe it? Because it's going to sound weird when I say this, because you know, any gas pedal is going to do this. I think I can tell that the pedal is hinging on a single point, and that's all it's doing. There's a very light spring in it, right? It takes nothing to just push it all the way down. And again, you can modulate, but I forget what the resolution is on the throttle pedal for the G920. I think it's like 256 or something like that. It's not, you know, so in other words, there's 256 points of acceleration there. Sounds like a lot, and it is, right, for such the short distance, but that doesn't make it super accurate, okay? So again, obviously you can modulate things. You can modulate that gas, as you're listening to me do right now, just to demonstrate, if you can hear the engine, which I would think you could. But again, the point is this, you know, again, I'm feeling some vibration, but all it really does is crank the wheel back and forth. It's not what I would call a real feedback as far as that goes. I can't tell if the vehicle's doing something in the front or the rear based upon what I feel here. Now, will I get that with the CSL DD? I don't know. I'm hoping. Right, the direct drive is supposed to give you that. It's supposed to give you that higher resolution and that higher detail of feeling. And we'll find out in just a few weeks, or for me a few weeks, for you right after this, so that you can see the difference between the two. But overall, again, this is not to complain about the G920. It is what it is. It's an entry-level wheel and pedal set. Again, I have the True Brake. I feel that feels to me a lot better than the stock brake did on the 920. The stock brake, I felt like just kind of hit a point and then stopped with those blocks in it, those hard rubber blocks or whatever they were. You know, you'd push it and it would just like hit this spot and stop, and it was done. Like, and then to apply brakes, you had to push harder and harder, but it didn't feel like it was moving at all. And I understand race brakes don't. That's kind of how they work, and I get that. What I'm saying is with this True Brake, I have more modulation there, right? I didn't feel like I could modulate the brakes with the stock. This, with the True Brake, I feel like I can. Now, again, how is that going to compare to the CSL DD or the Clubsport pedals that we'll be setting up here in the next week or two? I don't know yet, because I haven't really touched them. I can tell you I've put the performance kit on. I've put the damper kit on the throttle over there. I feel like just, you know, sitting it down on the floor and trying to push it a little bit, it does feel a lot different than this. So we'll see how that goes. But as I said, this is not about it's not about reviewing either one. It's about understanding. And let's jump over here as we sit. I'm going to jump over to ACC real quick. Now everybody's sitting there going, what are you going to ACC for? What are you going to ACC for? Well, what I want to do is try and talk a little bit about, because again, in Dirt Rally, there's the vibration and everything is really, oh, I'm behind the car. How wonderful. The vibration and everything is really like not what I would call super accurate. And honestly, from driving ACC, I got to actually think about it while I'm doing it versus just actually driving. You know, what does it feel like when it comes to resolution and you know, again, 2.5 Newton meters, and in ACC, you know, the cars always feel light. It's just the nature of the beast with ACC. Really what I'm looking for here, and the reason I came in is because, not to give this huge demonstration on tell everybody watch my lap times. But like there, I'm hitting curbs, right? And this is what I wanted. Again, I'm not here to race for a long time for you guys. I'm not going to hold you up like that. But I'm trying to record my impressions so that when I hook up the CSL DD, I have a frame of reference to go back to. Now, I will tell you this. As I hit these curbs, and again, we're going to go slow here on purpose, but as I come in and I look to hit a curb, right? Like, you can hear that curb. I don't feel anything. Like, literally, I feel nothing on that curb. My wheel does nothing. I'm learning and being aware of being on the curb because I hear it. And if I do this and get up over those sausage curbs, now I get a vibration, right? Now I get that bounce from the sausage curbs. But again, if I wrap in here tight, you can hear it, right? The game is telling you you're on a curb. But I feel nothing in this wheel. Sorry, I'm looking at you guys and not shifting. I'm feeling nothing in the wheel that says I'm on a curb. But again, now there I felt a little jumble right here as the car bounces. You can tell there's some feeling there as far as vibration goes. But again, let me slow way down and get in on this. Again, I felt a vibration and get in on these real good. There, the wheel jumped in my hand a little bit, right, to tell me I was on a sausage curb. But a standard curb, I don't feel anything. Like it just sits there. These are big ones, so let's hit them. Right now, there, the wheel's getting jerked in my hand a little bit. So right, like, okay, all right. Felt, again, sausage curbs. I'm pulling something. I'm pulling some feeling out of it. I can feel what's going on. I can tell I'm on a sausage curb. But if I can't feel the curbs, that tells me I'm not getting anything out of this wheel to tell me. There you go. I mean, it kind of moved a little bit, right? I'm not getting anything out of this wheel that tells me my tires are slipping. I'm not getting anything out of this wheel that says, hey, this is what the vehicle is doing. I'm not getting any of that right now. So the curious part's going to be, and again, I'll point it back and say it again. I am not qualified to review either one of these because this is my frame of reference. And there we go, a little bouncy bounce, right? But again, over this one, not really. Right there, you heard the curb, nothing. Nothing, not a thing. And I'm using settings that I found online to say, what should my force feedback be? Now that one's a little deeper. I was able to feel a little vibration on that curb. And again, as I was saying, though, this is not for review. This is not to say, go buy this, go buy that. What it is to do is to say, is it worth it? Is there a huge difference in feeling between the 2.5 Newton meter G29 gear-driven set, right, and the pedals, versus the Fanatec Clubsport V3 pedals and the new CSL DD with the McLaren wheel? The McLaren wheel doesn't really matter. Wheels are interchangeable. I need to get, I'm going to have to get I really am going to have to pick up a rally wheel because I think trying to race rally with GT3 is going to hurt. But point being is the wheelbase is the important part, right? So when we come back, we're going to have the CSL DD on the rig. Again, Playseat challenge, that's okay. Got to go with what you have space for. We're going to have the CSL DD on the rig. We're going to have everything ready to go, and we'll do the same thing. We'll do some dirt rally. We'll do some ACC, just to see the difference between the two and get those impressions like I've given them here. All right? See you in just a bit. Okay, guys, so here we go. The McLaren GT wheel is in. The CSL DD from Fanatec is in. The Clubsport V3 pedals are down there. Now, again, for me, it's been a few days. For you guys, through the power of magic and time. That said, I am about to do a little bit of dirt rally, like I said I would, on a GT3 wheel. This is going to be insane. One of the things I want to talk about, everything's mounted to the Playseat challenge. I want to talk about that at the end of this video, so stick around for that, because I think I have some good information on that for those that were concerned with some of the foldable, lightweight sim racing seats. So we'll talk about that towards the end. But let's go ahead and, I don't know, we'll go drive. First of all, I haven't driven dirt rally since I got this. And again, it's a GT3 wheel in a rally. I have a feeling, not going to go well. I'm going to do my best. I would ask y'all to just kind of ignore it because we're here to talk about impressions, right? We're not here to race well or to drive even that well today. So that said, let's go out and see how it feels because I haven't even felt it in Dirt Rally 2 yet, right? So we might as well see what it feels like. I made no changes to the settings of like the force feedback settings or anything like that. I'm going to use my brakes a lot just because I can and I think I need to. Woohoo! Uh, and I kind of set the handbrake up a little different so that I have a handbrake, and we'll see how well it does. Not that well, apparently. I will say, compared to like the 920, I feel like I feel a lot more. I get a lot more force feedback. Feedback in general, meaning that I feel like this wheel is doing what a regular car wheel would be doing versus kind of drifting over certain things and certain parts of what's going on. This is actually, like there, the wheels are, because the wheels are spinning, they're going to turn very smoothly. On the G920, that would have all been the same. It would have felt the same strength whether I was doing that slide or not. Where here, with driving, you feel the fight, you feel the pull, but with that, with that slide, that drift around the hairpin, it lightened up, right? As it would, because the wheels are spinning, it would lighten up, and you would not feel that because the tires are able to turn. Oh my lord, the tires are able to turn in a more free way, and you can actually feel that in this wheel versus in the G920. So I guess that's one way to describe this. And as I say, guys, this is going to be horrible with a GT3 wheel. More horrible than normal, I would say. And no real handbrake, but that was just like before, right? So we're going to try and get around these two, one right and one left. Oh, too early. I mean, this actually, on a GT3 wheel, isn't horrible, right? I mean, it's not the most terrible driving I've ever done. I do feel uncomfortable because I just realized I didn't even put my gloves on. And as goofy as it sounds, once you're used to it, you kind of want them. Well, my goodness. We'll see if we even finish this. I know I didn't do this bad the first time, so it's got to, but we'll discuss it when we get over to Assetto Corsa. But I have driven a few laps so far in this because I wanted to see how it felt, and of course, new piece of kit, you can't, who's gonna not use it right away, even if you're not gonna record a video. But overall, the feeling in this in Dirt Rally, I'd love to have a rally wheel. I'm hoping to get one at some point. This is much better, much smoother. I feel like I'm more in touch with what is going on. That I can. Again, I haven't driven rally in over a week at this point. Well, no, been about a week. And that being the case, I don't know. I'd want more time, but I feel like there's potential. You know what I mean? Like, I feel as though with practice, maybe with a real handbrake that you can kind of flex a little more versus just an analog type of deal, or I'm sorry, a digital type of deal. I really feel like there's potential there. Like, I feel more in touch. I feel as though I could do better, at least. As I've said in the past, and as you'll see in another video that I'll be posting soon, I don't think the equipment makes anyone, takes anyone from a slow driver like myself to an alien. I don't think that happens. And now that I can look at you guys again, now that the race is over, I don't think that happens, right? You don't go from slow to alien because of this. I do, however, believe that I feel the potential in it with practice. I could do better. Not as good as a lot of people, but I could do better, right? The other part of this I feel is, and part of what happened here, and I think what you guys will see is going to happen over in Assetto Corsa, is that, because as I said, I've done a few laps there. I think part of that is, how do I describe it? Say you've driven the same car for 5 years, right? Or even just 1 year. It doesn't matter. I was on that G920 for 18 months. It's not as though when you go get a new car that you have to learn how to drive again, right? You don't. You know where the brake pedal is. You know where the accelerator is. You know where the steering wheel is. It's the same. No. But that new vehicle is going to have a different feeling than your old vehicle. So even on roads you're used to driving on, like we're going to go to Spa as we did last time, even on roads like that, you have to drive a little bit differently until you get used to it. What I'm finding is that it's the same with this. But we can talk about more about that in just a minute. Let's hop over to ACC and see how we do at Spa. All right, guys. So as I said, I know I said Spa a few minutes ago, but or a minute ago, but I then remembered that we didn't go to Spa. We went to Imola, so we're gonna go to Imola. Uh, like I said, I want to keep everything the same. So let's go to Imola. Again, I've done a little bit of driving in ACC already because who doesn't use a new toy as soon as it comes in? But I still wanted to do this and give you guys these impressions. So as I said, what I have found so far is really it's like driving a new car, right? It's like driving a new. It's if you went and bought a new car, you have to get used to some things that are a little bit different. Now, one of the things I've noticed is with these Clubsport pedals, I'm braking later than I did with the G920. I have more flex in the pedal. I'm able to control it better. I'm able to modulate it more and more accurately. It feels wonderful. That I can tell you. The wheel, even in ACC on console, which everybody knows the force feedback is very light, even the wheel feels so much better, so much smoother, none of that gearing. And here's the other thing. I can feel my curbs. If you remember in the first half, we talked about that, right? I can feel the curbs. I want to go hit a few more here real quick. As I get in on these, you know, the wheel moves. I feel that vibration in the wheel that I never got with the 920. So just that in and of itself will tell you, obviously going direct drive, much more accurate and much more, again, I call it a higher resolution, right? There's more opportunity for feeling there, more opportunity to know what's going on with the vehicle that you are pretend driving. You know, I go out here, I feel those, and they feel, not only do I feel them, and this is what I mean by, I think, by the resolution. With the G920, so like if I come in here and I waffle these sausage curves, with the G920 it was very unpredictable as to what was going to happen, right? The wheel just kind of went brrr, and that was it. With this, you feel like it, again, it reacts as though it should. It reacts in a way that, I don't want to call it predictable because it's still going to toss you around, and I'm doing this on purpose. These especially. Again, it's still trying to toss you around, but it reacts in a way that to me is very, very predictable. It's something I can feel that I know is coming. I see myself aiming for that curb and know that I shouldn't go that way. This is my first thought. The second thought is, this is going to go badly because I don't know what's going to happen. And actually, real quick, before I end this and we go into the little outro here to talk about the Playseat Challenge, I do want to run up here to T1 real fast. And those curbs can be especially brutal in the Audi. If you hit them, they kind of tend to bounce the back end up. So let's go see how bad it is. So if I turn right into these, you know, again, the car's tossing, but it feels predictable and at least controllable. The G920, I've hit those curbs, those exact curbs in the G920. It's not controllable. Forget about it. You're done. That's basically it. It's over for you if you hit those curbs. The rear end of the car flies and you go off into the dirt. That felt controllable. And obviously I was going slow, but still I felt like I was in control. I felt like I knew just from driving in real life and understanding the physics behind what happens in certain things. I mean, I'm no engineer. What I'm saying is I felt as though I knew what was going to happen. I felt that it was going to be predictable, hard to control, but controllable. And I think that's the difference that I'm feeling between this and the 920 is the 920 just whammered the wheel back and forth on you, and that was its method of force feedback, right? Just to take that gear drive and go, and it's, you know, we're going to just toss you, and that's what you get for force feedback. That's what you get for feedback from the road or from a bump or from anything like that. That didn't happen here. I got feedback, but it wasn't just the wheel going bop, 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 back and forth. It was more of a, okay, it hit on the right side, so we're going to kick it this way, and it shows that the right side kicked up versus the left side kicked up or anything like that. Again, very hard to explain. Overall, I'm extremely satisfied with this. But let's head to a little outro because, again, I want to talk about the Playseat Challenge for those of you that have some sort of portable, we'll call it a portable rig like this. Mine sits in the middle of the floor all the time. My wife gets upset because I just don't feel like folding it up. Point being is, for those of you that have things like this portable type of Playseat challenge rig, let's go talk about the CSL DD and the Clubsport pedals real quick, okay? Be right back. All right, folks. So as I said, overall first impressions, if that's what we're talking about here today, simply this: there is no comparison. Um, Again, I haven't reviewed hardware, and I've never reviewed sim racing hardware, but I haven't reviewed hardware in about 10 years. The difference between the G920 and this CSL DD and the upgrade to Fanatec, and with the price points they are, right, 350 total versus about 1200 for everything I bought, there better be a big difference, right? But the thing is, there really is. Even on console, you feel it. I felt more in touch. And as you know, it's one of the things I want to talk about with I've noticed as I go through and I work to do a little bit of practicing and stuff and get used to this. What I've noticed is I feel the potential. I guess that's one way to put it. I don't feel as though a hardware limitation is what holds me back. As I talked about with hitting curbs, you feel them now. Just the regular curbs, the sausage curbs, even when you hit them, you feel more in control. Again, very difficult to control. You're not going to save every time you misturn and hit a sausage curb. You're not going to save the vehicle every time. I've spun out at Eau Rouge and Radio a couple times this week, right? You're not going to save it every time, but you feel more in control, I guess, more in touch with what's going on, and that's the promise of DD, right? It's doing exactly what it said. Not only that, but the pedals, the Clubsport pedals, again over the G920 pedals, unbelievable difference. The throttle feels like a throttle. There's more resolution there. I get more modulation out of it because of the higher resolution. I feel like I can do more with it. Same with the brake. Now, the one thing again I'm finding with the brakes is I'm actually braking later because of it. I'm having to kind of rethink my brake points. Not in every corner. There are some that they fall dead on, but it's usually the high speed straight into a low speed corner where I'm finding I'm actually braking too early. Like if we talk about at Spa coming off the Camel Straight, there I'm having to brake later than I did before by about 10 to 20 feet, right? Whatever it is. Also coming off the back straight into the bus stop chicane, same thing. If I brake too early, I'm almost stopped by the time I get to the chicane. Now, those of the guys that I race with who know me will say, well, you stop through the chicane every time. No, I don't stop through the chicane every time. What I'm getting at is, as I'm coming up to it, I'm literally like having to give it gas in first gear. I'm having to push the throttle to hit the chicane at the speed I want to hit it at, and that's never happened with the G920. Once I found a break point, I was in it, and the car, provided I was consistent, the car was doing what I expected every time. That's not. This is still doing what I expect. What I'm saying is that I'm having to pull my brake times, my brake markers in, and if that's happening, if I'm braking later, I'm hopefully gaining time, right? I'm going to be faster. We'll see. Again, it takes practice because, as I said earlier, it's this going from an old car to a new car or a friend's car, anything like that. You don't have to completely relearn how to drive, but you do need to relearn how things work a little bit. Where are my windshield wipers? Where are my turn signals? All that jazz, right? And this is a part of that too, because it is a different feeling all the way around. Now, the last thing I did want to discuss is there was a lot of concern from some folks who, like me, don't have the space for a full-size rig, still wanted to upgrade. I attached this to the Playseat Challenge, and let me tell you something. First of all, let's talk about negatives first. The negative first is that in order to mount this using the hardware that comes with it, I had to move the plate on the Playseat Challenge closer to the seat, so I had to slide it forward into the seat. That required me to dip my seat back a little further to give myself room. And you guys saw how I was sitting. For me, I'm comfortable in that position. It may be more difficult for other folks, whether you're shorter, whether you're bigger than I am, smaller than I am. I don't know. It may be a little tricky because the shaft, the shaft and the quick connect and everything off of that DD, there's a lot of space there, right? There's probably 5 to 6 inches of space. That pushes that out a lot further than the G920 did. So something to keep in mind. Now, the one really good thing I found is the pedals, the Clubsport pedals with the Playseat Challenge. And I think it has to do with the angle at which the plate sits down on the pedal, the pedal bars down below. But with the G920, if I really got into that brake, I would feel myself, I would be pushing myself back in the seat, right? The seat's like starting to try and rock back because I'm pushing on that G920 so hard. With this, I'm getting 100% braking power. It never lifts off the front. The front of the seat never lifts. And again, I think it has to do with the angle at which those pedals sit, because the 920s, the base sits up higher. Therefore, you've got more leverage that's pushing down and then lifting the seat back. This is more direct, right? It's down lower, and it really feels as though, I don't know, it's not leaning back on me like it was before. So again, something to keep in mind. The one thing you will struggle with is the cable that goes from the base down to the pedals. If you have a Playseat Challenge, it's not long enough to really wrap properly with the power cable and the USB cable. It kind of floats out on its own. I was still able to Velcro it down, but it's not in my favorite spot. I do take care every time I get in the rig to make sure that I'm not catching that wire with my foot or anything. I ran them underneath the plate back out to the left-hand side. So, folks, that's it. That's initial impressions, G920 compared to the CSL DD. 100%, 200% an upgrade. It's absolutely insane. Again, not a full review by any stretch of the imagination, but this thing, I really feel the potential in it, and I think I've found something that's going to keep me sim racing and engaged and enjoying myself for a good number of years. So if you want to see more, keep tuning back. We're going to have a hot lap comparison coming up here in a little week, and of course you can always find the races from Green Hell posted after Saturday's PC races and Sunday's Xbox races every week. And hopefully the content will continue to get better, guys. I'm just starting off with this, with the editing and all that jazz. So stick around. If you have any suggestions, put them in the comments. I love constructive criticism, something that gives me something to shoot for to get better with. So if you can do that, I would greatly appreciate it as you get to listen to my phone go off. We will wrap this up. But again, keep coming back and we'll have more sim racing and other content coming your way. Thanks so much.